We're going to build a Linktree clone using Next.js, Tailwind, and Vercel edge config, but really you could use any database or any data store here. The focus is going to be on trying to replicate what Linktree provides really quickly in a Next.js application. So let's dive into it. So we have our create next app scaffolded here, just a basic Next.js application, and I ran next-dev to start up our server on the right here. And the app that we're trying to build, I just went to Linktree and picked a random Linktree. So we've got Selena Gomez here. It's a pretty simple app, but it can show some cool things that we can do. So we have a photo, we have a name, and then we have a list of links, some social media accounts. Really, you could represent this entire thing as a JSON object. Like, this doesn't need to get that complex, but you don't want to have to necessarily redeploy every single time you update content. So you want to have some dynamism to it. So maybe what we could do first is just to try to almost replicate the quote unquote schema that we're working with here through JSON. We have a name that's going to be some string. We have what is that? An image, which the image could be, there's a good question on like where we want to host the image, but let's say we're going to do, do we want to do one local in our application or do we want to do one remote? Let's do, we'll do a Twitter images for this, or really any avatar here. Then we've got links, and this is going to be an array of stuff. And there's, I guess if we want to keep it really simple, there's a title URL. Let's see how much will it scaffold for me? Come on, give me some more here. Sure. I mean, at its core, that's probably as simple as it gets, although I would argue that this is kind of separate from socials. And Twitter, GitHub. Yeah, we could continue on that path, but let's go with that. So then let's make these links a little bit different. Let's do my personal site. Let's do, I don't know. We'll do the Vercel website, sure. Okay, so I mean, that's like roughly a very basic JSON schema of what this thing could be. The very simple database, a good old fashioned JSON file. Link image, URL. Oh, what's this question on whether the link should be an image or not? Yeah, I think this will be, let's do copy image. We could just do Twitter images here. Oh my gosh, no. Yeah, we can do it like that. That should work. Okay, how responsive is this thing? Let's go back to our app and let's start building some UI. Oh, he meant the image displayed on each link. Yeah, it's a good question. We might want to have some kind of, like, this is an optional field in our schema. There's not really that, but I wonder if that's actually a valid. I guess I could, just for the sake of making this work, I could do that potentially. So you optionally have that image. Yeah, something like that could work. Okay, so create next app scaffolds out with the pages directory. Do we want to do pages directory or want to do app directory? I'm open to either. And we're going to want to set up Tailwind. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll just get rid of my dev server and we're going to install some dependencies here. So I'm using pm. You can use whatever you want. So we're going to do pmi these dependencies, and then we're going to init Tailwind, which is going to set up the files. We can copy in this Tailwind stuff here, and then we need a global style sheet. Let's do, I'm just going to delete this CSS module. We can do, I'm going to ditch all the styles. We're going to start from complete scratch. And yeah, do I want to do pages directory or app directory? Let's do, we'll start with pages and we could refactor to app directory later. Happy New Year. Thanks for hanging out and joining. Okay. So that should be everything we need to set up Tailwind. We're importing our global styles. That's fine. Okay, let's cut everything. Let's just cut it all. And we don't even need to do anything with fonts right now. And we'll use image later, so we'll just leave that here. So we've got our home page, and let's make sure Tailwind's working as we expect. I guess I could just copy this entire thing. Okay, that should be fine, I think. So let me restart the dev server. How many times I've set up Tailwind this year? I've set it up a few times. Definitely a few times. Okay, it works. I could just start with the example if I wanted to, like the actual Tailwind example that's pre-set up. Sometimes it's fun just to like manually do it to make sure I know what I'm doing. So yeah, it looks like this is set up correctly as I would expect. Let's start building out this UI. So we're going to start with some div, and this is going to be flex, item center, justify center. Actually, we'll just do item center, and we're going to have an image in here. We can use that next image now. Oh, well, whatever. That's fine. Could you use the new app directory? I certainly can. Actually, I think what'll be fun is I'll build this out with pages just for the sake of it, and then I'll move it over to the app directory, and we can show a little bit of both. We've got a source image. We're going to have probably like, I feel like maybe like 48. That's a decent guess of what that's going to be. And why is this complaining? Oh, it's complaining because I need alt tag. Let's pull in our fake data here too. So we've got import. We're just going to call it data from data.json. I think that's what it was. So we'll do the alt as data.name. Data.avatar, width, height. Cool. Nice. Okay, now we need to say, hey, we want to be able to optimize images from this location. This could be one of the places where it could get a little tricky, because if we're going to allow arbitrary images from arbitrary places, that makes it kind of hard to have an allow list of where you want to optimize images from. So let's just roll with keeping the Twitter image for now, and then maybe we'll refactor that out later. But yeah, we can do it like this, or we could switch to remote patterns if we wanted to as well. So this is saying, hey, you can optimize these images from Twitter if you want. Okay, I'll restart the dev server. Cool. So that's that's too small. Let's do 120, and let's throw class name on here of rounded. Is it full? Yep, rounded full. We got a perfect. We're gonna do margin. Wait, not full margin. Margin X auto, so it should be centered, but I think this is probably going to have to be width full. The parent might need to be width full as well too. What's the package manager? I'm using PNPM right now. Yes. So what do we got here? The flex item center margin X auto. Is that not getting width full? What am I doing here? Width full. Yes. Margin X auto. It's the little things. What are we doing here? Sometimes I feel like I always get item center and justify center flipped. Like, it's so hard in my head to make sense of them. They're too similarly named. Okay. So this is our wrapper. Let's do margin top 8 or something, 16 maybe. It's actually a little bit smaller here. So maybe we'll do 80. Let's do an H1 of font semi-bold. This is going to be avatar.name, or sorry, not avatar.name, data.avatar. Thanks for the shout out for the people who caught my justify center. Yes, data.avatar. There's a good question here about Turbo as well too. Let's see if, whoops, that's not what I wanted. Let's see if we could use Turbo repo as well. So I'm on the latest. I'm using, we don't even need React strict mode in here anymore, I don't think. It's that way by default in the app directory. If I go to package.json, I do next dev-s turbo. I don't need any of that. There's this this has been almost like a, once you see it, I can't unsee it. Like the fact that you don't need name or version or description or author or like any of this stuff when you're not actually publishing the package. I kind of wish it would just default to private true, because like I'm not publishing this package. It's just I'm only using it for scripts and dependencies. Okay, so next dev turbo. Let's see if it's working. Cool. That works. So turbo pack here is just for the shared cache benefits if it's not a monorepo. Yeah, slight clarification. Not using turbo repo, using turbo pack through Next.js 13. So Next.js 13 allows you to essentially replace Webpack with turbo pack, which should give you faster hot module reloading or faster updates when you hit save. So it's kind of nice. We probably want to do another, I can probably close this, doesn't matter. We probably want to do another div inside here. That looks like a more bold font. Let's do flex direction, or is it? It's not direction. Is it flex call? What is it? Yeah. Now I think it needs to be item center. That's where my brain was off. Okay, let's do bold instead here. We'll do margin top of 4, text 2XL, no, XL, sure. Flex call, yep. Okay, how are we looking? It needs to be a little bigger, but the spacing looks directionally okay. So maybe, you know what? Why guess when I can just check? Amazing. 96. And what's this? This is a 20-point size. 20-point size. Cool. 96. Text XL. That's pretty damn close. Let's roll with that. Okay. Now we have a name, we have an avatar. We want to iterate over our list of links. So let's make a new function, link card, I guess. Well, and this is going to take a next link. Well, wait, no. Not going to take a next link because these are not internal links. So good old-fashioned A tag is when you want to link to anything. Next link is when you want to have those fast client-side snappy page transitions between pages in your application. Since this is a link tree and all these things are just going externally, we actually don't want to do that. We just want to use good old-fashioned A tag. Trying to see how much... I was just really curious to see what styles Copilot gives me by default. Like, what does it think a link tree looks like? I guess we're going to find out. And I also don't remember, what do we have? Title, URL, and image. I mean, href is a much better name for this. Title, URL, title, href, image. Yeah. Href, title, image. Okay. That looks fine. Let's do... Can you maybe move my webcam a bit? Oh, duh. That's funny. Yeah, that would probably help, wouldn't it? Considering it's directly on what I'm trying to show. Let me do that. Or I think what I could do, well, I'll just move it. Cool. That should hopefully be better. Okay. So we have link card. We want to iterate over these. We're going to do data.links.map. That takes in a link. And we want to have our link card component. The key is the href. Yep, probably not going to have the same link to two different things. And then spread the actual link object over the link card. Now, it looks like it's messed up the syntax here somewhere. Probably missing, yep, just missing that. And I think link card is going to need to be defined up above here. That looks okay. What is it here? I think it's TypeScript being like, bruh, what are you doing? Because image is optional. Href string, title string. Yeah. Whoa, there we go. That's the default styling they give me. Come on. What are we working with here? My personal, I can't even spell. My Peronsel site. Okay. That looks fine. Let's refactor this thing so that it looks a little bit better. Let's start with, we'll make this margin Y so that there's more margin in between here. Actually, looks like we need more than that. So let's do margin bottom 40 or something. Is that right? Yeah. Oh wait, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I want it here. Margin bottom 8. Yeah. Okay, so these cards we're going to do rounded small, no shadow. Was there? I mean, I guess everyone can have different styles. Like I think everyone can customize their own link trees to look a little bit differently, but we'll just go with like kind of a basic traditional style here, which maybe it does just get a little bit bigger when you hover over it. So sure. Let's do hover scale 110 transition all. Okay, padding. Yeah, that's fine. Width full. Probably need a border. We'll do gray 300, and we probably want to have a little bit of margin between them, maybe something like that. Yeah. The question is, this entire container probably needs a little bit of X padding, maybe 8. Oh, I think rounded small, is that not a thing? Is it just rounded medium? That looks okay. Yeah, that's all right. I feel like the font size is too big, and the text needs to be centered as well too. So let's go back into here. Font bold. Was it bold? No, it wasn't even bold. It's actually maybe semi-bold. That looks, yeah, now we're talking. That's not bad. Whoa, that scale's actually maybe a bit much. I think 105 was also an option. Nice. Let's do check center. We'll actually do it up. Or, I mean, I guess I don't really need to have all this extra elements in here. Like, it's probably unnecessary. Well, I guess if there's going to be an image in here, optionally, then yeah, we probably do want to have the extra element because the image is always going to be aligned left. But then this other div, if you think of this whole thing as a box, has its text centered in the middle. So maybe let's say that this image could be we'll just copy in this image here and we'll do this is probably going to be maybe like 40 at most. Just for the sake of it, I'll use the same image and we're going to do it like this. The padding is showing here. We probably want to have the padding somewhere else, like that. This image actually did have just a little bit of padding, I guess. Hopefully, I don't know if I'm talking too fast, so tell me if I need to slow down as I'm just flying through stuff. Let's do rounded small. That, yeah, it looks okay. That looks all right. Maybe a little more. It's fine. Okay, so we've got an image. This is going to be title, and this is image, and this element, what does this say? Source is not assignable. It's not assignable to type string or static import. Source is not assignable to type string? Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Definitely is a string. The expected type. Oh, I think it's because it's undefined. That makes sense. Because what we really want to do here is say that. Nice. Nice. And then we want this to be with full text center. Is this whole thing with full? No. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. So the width center, the width center of this is different than the width center of this. So it's like, ooh, that's gonna get interesting on mobile too, because I wouldn't want to put a placeholder like 40 pixel block here, because then when you get small enough, that's actually not going to work well. So we might want to do like, You could do like a calc, like minus 40 pixels. Or I guess you might change the layout entirely on mobile. I'm not sure. Let's find out what happens here. Do all of Selena's ones have images? Ah, they all have images. Interesting. Okay. I wonder if it's, do you think it's automatically pulling these images from the Open Graph image? Like, let me, like rare beauty here, right? Okay, let's go to Open Graph and let's take this and let's drop it in here. And what are we working with? What do we got here? Yeah. No, never mind. This is different. So it's not, magically pulling that in there. Even though it's similar, it looks like they must be manually choosing what image they want to go in there. That's interesting. While I'm at this width, I'm also realizing that it needs to have, okay, so the cards need to have a little bit of a background here. We can probably put some color flare on this soon, but for now, let's just do like background gray, like 200, or maybe, ooh. Yeah, even 50 is like, even 50 is kind of a lot. I don't know that I like that. It looks kind of like shit. I wonder if I should stop and figure out a fun gradient background. Let's do that. Tailwind gradient backgrounds. There was some website I remember seeing that had a bunch of different fun. Oh yeah, this one, hypercolor. Some cool Tailwind gradient backgrounds. So I want something that is real subtle. Ooh, that's kind of nice. Okay. Yeah, let's see what that looks like. So this is actually going to be on probably the body. What is it mad about? Oh, it's saying it's the same thing. I wonder if that site is out of date. Oh, I had to refresh. I was gonna say, I wonder if that site is out of date. No, that's kind of cool. Yeah. I dig it. Something different. Okay, so let's do then text white as our default. We'll do, oh, did I actually put text black on this? No, I didn't. Text white. We'll do, I wonder if I want my cards to be white so they have a little bit more. So then this could be like text gray 200. This could be, instead of border gray, what we're gonna do is background white. And actually I meant like this, like a softer gray. Yeah. Maybe not. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. I feel like I need to fix this padding thing yet. Oh, here we go. Have you used this gradient before? They come out super clean. Nice. Oh, so these are like really fancy gradients. Nice. Let's, it's kind of fun. Ooh. Oh, wow. I don't think this will be in Tailwind, but that's fine. Nice. Ooh, that's really nice and subtle. What do we got here? Precision. Keep that there. Angle. Sure. Easing curve. This is just fun to mess around with. Sure. Let's do this. Copy CSS. Let's take a look at what that looks like instead. So rather than doing on my document, rather than doing this, we're gonna go into, oh, it actually uses a background image. That's really interesting. Oh, interesting. Is the problem it's not, the problem is it's not full height. And 100% isn't working. 100 view height. That's all right. I actually don't know if I need no repeat if I just get the height right. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I'll roll with that. Something different. Yeah, let's roll with that. So I can close this, close this. I feel like the only issue here is that if they don't all have images, it just kind of looks janky. So maybe we want to make the images the default, I think. Or optionally, we do reserve that space. So there would always be like, you know, some div that is width 10. Like that. Wait, 10, is it 10 right? It's with, I thought it was. Yeah, with 10 should be 40. Let me double check this. Yeah, it's all right. Width 10, height 10. What we probably want to do here instead of text center is let's do, isn't CSS great, right? Flex, justify, center, item center. When in doubt, you just spam Flexbox because Flexbox fixes everything. And I could do like a calc here, but I could also do probably like margin left. This is so dirty. Margin left -10. Would that work? I think that should work. Oh wait, sorry, -10. Oh, wait. It won't do 10 as in 10 converted to on the Tailwind scale. I have to actually put that. Or I feel like there's another way if you do this. Is it this maybe? Yeah, if you put the negative in front, it negates margin left 10. Wow, this is looking great. Let's add more data for the heck of it. Next.js.org. And nice. Okay, let's do some socials. Let's replace CSS. Yeah, margin left 10. Nice. 100 safe view height the other day, which ensures it'll use up 100% of the visible height on mobile and not count on the browser UI height. Is that standard in browsers right now, or is that, because I know that it's a wild world out there to get 100 to get 100% height accurately represented across web and mobile for multiple browsers. I think this 100 safe view height or whatever it is, I think it was being proposed to be added to CSS. Maybe it's only on like a Chrome experimental version, but yeah, it's wild. I wish it was easier, so I'm glad that they're doing that. Okay. We're looking pretty good. We probably want to have a max width as well on these, like max width. Yeah, let's do something like that. Okay, so for social, it's down at the bottom. We have Twitter and GitHub right now. So let's find some, oh, here we go. Can I use? Nice. Well, that's cool. That's interesting. Let's do what do we got? So we got a Twitter icon in here. No? Let me steal my Twitter icon from my other site. So I'm working on a new version of my portfolio, and I already have a Twitter SVG and a GitHub SVG there. So let's just, I'll go over and I'll try to find that. Let's see. Icons. Okay, so let me, material UI icons are the best. Yeah, I am working on a new one. Simple icons. Nice. It put in a bunch, and for the sake of it, I'm just going to drop them all in here. So what do we got here? Twitter icon, just an SVG. And what color? It takes current color. Okay. GitHub icon. Cool. So below, oh, I don't need this views icon either. So I've got Twitter icon, GitHub icon. So below this, I want to do data.socials. Yeah. Data.socials.map. And let's do, yeah, I guess what we could do is probably just do this inline where it's like, oh, here we go. Here we go. We'll do, so Twitter icon. Do you think you'll figure out? It's nice how it figures out the pattern that you did before. So it's like, oh, this is clearly what he's trying to do. Okay, so if socials includes this, do a Twitter icon. If it includes GitHub, do a GitHub icon. These icons need to be bigger for sure. Yeah, how big were they? Decently sized here. Maybe rather than like manually, that's a good point. Like maybe rather than manually doing that, let's do simple icons. Or that's an interesting thought, using modularized imports. What are material UI icons? What are these? Do these have them all as well too? Oh my gosh, they have 2,000 icons. It's insane. Simple icons. Where? Oh, here we go. Twitter. Oh, yeah, they have all of them too. Is there a? I don't know if there is an npm package for it, but Font Awesome has. Oh yeah, I've used Font Awesome as well too. Yeah. Let's do, we'll make these a little bit bigger, and we probably want to put a bit more margin around them. I guess the way it's set up right now, ooh, is that too big? That might be too big. It's fine. So what we could do is put this in here, put it in a div, and we'll do class name, what is it, gap? There's like, or grid. I'm trying to think of, I think it's gap is the one I'm thinking of. I want to do like 4 pixels in between each one. Gap 1, gap 2, let's do gap 1. Yeah, those are definitely too big now, looking at them. So let's do 30, and this is like what, like 24 or something. That's a bit better. The GitHub one's still, it's like an optical illusion almost that it seems larger than the Twitter one. And then let's go here and let's do margin top 4. Well, what did we do? We did margin bottom 8 from the header to these cards. So do margin top here. And then I don't even need, on the icons themselves, I had the margin right too. I can probably remove that because that's what the gap is doing for me. And then let me go back to gap 4. Nice. Nice. Now, I guess the question now, what are we missing? Do I want like a footer down at the bottom or anything? Probably doesn't matter. This is fine. This is good enough for now. Let's do, let's move it to the app directory since that was something that folks were curious about. So this is a good example of kind of incrementally moving things over. In this instance, there's only one route, but it shows a good example of like, I have this underscore app file that's kind of my global layout. I'm putting global styles for the whole app. And I have underscore document, which is setting up the lang for the language tag on my HTML, setting some body styles, right? And then I have the index. So what if we want to move this over to the app directory, which the docs for this are on beta.nextjs.org. And there's this nice little upgrade guide in here as well too that tries to help you move along throughout this journey, right? So the first thing is you have to enable the feature inside of Next.config. So let's do that. And then we need to make a root layout. So in our directory, we have the pages folder. This still exists in Next.js 13. You know, it doesn't go anywhere. I'm on Next.js 13 right now. But we also have the ability to make a new folder app. And this is essentially how you opt into this new world. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to make layout.tsx. And this is the new root layout for the application. And it takes in a child, some child prop. And it's interesting when you compare these two, like it's just a much more clean way of magically, you know, making the layout work. It's like, oh yeah, I have some HTML, I have a body, and it takes in some children. This component effectively replaces app and document because everything in app runs on the server by default as a server component. I can get more into the server client component difference. But so what we can really do is take this style sheet, and I don't need anything else from here, and we're gonna include that. And then in document, we had what, lang equals English, and then we had the body class name, which I actually don't think was doing anything, which we already have here. So yeah, we can just get rid of both of those. And then this index page, slight differences in how naming works. Kind of an interesting thing, but pages, everything was an index or blog or about, and the actual name of that was what resolved to the URL. In the app directory, everything has the name page file. And this is important because you can nest routes and you can have some funky folder names if you want. And everything inside of there, you can put styles, you can put tests, you can put images. Page dot whatever, TSX, is what actually makes it a route. So I move this to here. Let me just nuke pages. And we're going to rename this to page. And I think that's pretty much it. Let's go back over to here, refresh the page. Oh, I might need to restart. Oh, yeah, because I changed the settings. Oh, is my path wrong? Let's see. App. So if I go back up, styles, global, CSS, that seems right. maybe, possibly. Unexpected token. Oh, did I put something in here? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. What is this? Oh, I know what it is. Classic Tailwind mistake. In my Tailwind config, I need to also include the app directory, because these are the styles that it's actually looking for content to look for all of the Tailwind class names. Ta-da! It is now converted. The only difference I see is the icons are black because there was that text white class on the whole page. So what we would want to do is actually go back to here, and because the SVGs are taking in current color, they're going to take whatever text color we pass in here. So now we're on the app directory. That was pretty easy. What if we wanted to move this data to something remotely? That'd be kind of cool. Let's do that. Let me go, and we're gonna go to my GitHub. And is there a difference in terms of the final page weight between pages and app when you import? Well, first off, is there a difference in the page weight between pages and app? App currently has less client-side JavaScript than pages, and because it's using server components, it actually scales better when you have, 100 different server components. They all run on the server, so none of that code has to be sent to the client side. That helps keep that bundle small for only the pieces of interactivity that you actually need. So let's do Linktree, Next.js, clone. It's not really a full clone, so I don't want to overdo it here. What else do we got in here? Is there anything else? Let's do this. Post CSS, fine. I'm just quickly looking through and seeing if there's anything that we wanted to remove. Oh, we could do a custom font as well too, since we're already here. I need to do one other thing that would be good to do before we actually push this up would be adding some meta tags. So right now, the way to do that is through this head file. This is likely going to change, but it at least works for right now. Again, the app directory is in beta, so we're still figuring some things out. We want to really find the best possible way to do meta tags and SEO data, and we have some ideas on how to make this even better. So for now, we'll just do it like this. We'll do description, Next.js plus Tailwind CSS, and favicon. I want the viewport. I think that should be everything, because then I can get rid of, I don't need any of those. I just need the favicon page, layout, meta tags, and we're in business. Okay, let's push up an existing repository from the command line. And then I'll restart my dev server. Okay, still running locally. I've got some code in here. That looks fine. Let's move this out of the repository and into something that I can dynamically fetch. And we're going to use Vercel Edge config for this. So let's make a new project. We're going to go to my account, Linktree, we'll call it Linktree Next.js. The way, let me just pull change log. We'll let this deploy here. The way that Edge config works, it's pretty cool. See if I can find the changelog for it. It is a kind of unique data store. It's not a database. It's not a key value store. It's for JSON data. It's for configuration data. And you can update it very quickly and not have to do a redeployment to actually fetch that data. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of cool. We're kind of abusing it for the sake of what we're trying to show off here. Like, oh, I didn't, I didn't commit my code. Should probably do that. Linktree. So I deployed create next app, but okay, we'll push up the actual deployment here. I'll kind of show you what it looks like. So you see Edge config here. I am going to create a new store. I'll call this Linktree. And so it just made a token for me, and it stored that in a connection string that I can use. So let's do that. It's kind of nice that it gives me the instructions here on what I need to do to move forward. So I need to pull in the environment variable to be able to actually use this locally. Oh, that's not what I want. So we're going to link this to our remote project, and it's in Linktree LOL, existing project. What's the name of my existing project? I think it's just Linktree. Is that right? Nope. Linktree Next.js. Okay. So I want to pull this environment variable down. And I want to install this package. So I'm going to do pni at Vercel edge config. Cool. And then inside of my page, I can import this get. So get some value from the key value store, and it essentially looks something like this. You're able to await getting something by the key, and we could say this is data, or like Linktree or something. So let's take this. Since we're in, well, actually, let me go into the page here. So this is the home page, and I'm just going to comment this out for now. But what I'm going to do is actually go in here and I'm going to take this data.json, and what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. We're going to call this Linktree, and then we're going to paste all of this. We can format that, save it. Cool. That looks good. Okay, that looks fine. Let's go back to our local project. What I'm going to do is delete this data.json, RIP. I'm going to go in here, and rather than importing data from data.json, we are going to fetch it using server components. So by default, this page runs on the server components. And when what that means is I'm able to change this from export default function to export default async function. Now I can just do async await and fetch data directly in my component without having to use get static props, get server-side props, or similar. So we're going to do await, get. Linktree was the key, and then this is data. And this should hopefully work. We're going to find out. I see somebody, yeah, when I switched to PMPM, I had to make an alias. I could not, I was so used to Yarn, even Yarn, I don't know, I had that aliased as well. Just less characters to type, PN. Does it work? Dun, 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 dun. Some kind of ESM error because ESM causes problems everywhere. It's probably an issue with TurboPack, which is an alpha. It's an alpha, everyone, please. And so let's try it without. Does it work? No, it doesn't. So maybe it's not a TurboPack issue. I think I know what it is. I'm actually not sure why the instructions there said to do VC pull, because I need an environment variable so I can run this locally. And this is kind of a quirk of, Vercel. I probably need to get this fixed, but I don't want VC pull. I want VCM pull. I want to pull the environment variables into a .env.local file. And it's going to pull all this stuff, and I have an edge config value. Another cool thing about edge config is you can actually just go to it and see the JSON, right? So, okay, like this looks like what I'm expecting. So let's do this again. Maybe this time. Is it gonna work this time? There we go. Now we're talking. Okay, that was probably the issue. It probably wasn't TurboPack. I think I threw TurboPack under the bus. I'm sorry, TurboPack. Wasn't your fault. You're great. Just kidding. Throw it under the bus. Done. I was wrong. No, it was a combination of both. Looks like there's a ESM thing still that's gonna have to be resolved. You gotta love it. It's always something, right? What type of data is the data variable now? Is it any? Good question. Yes, it is. This is just an any. So I think we would want to probably, that was the nice thing about having that JSON locally, is that you were getting that validation of what it was. So now we have to, we have to do this. And this is going to be a link. It's name, avatar, links. That looks about right. Or use Zod. Yeah, I could use some kind of schema validation here. I think regardless, I would have to type it in some way, because the any there is not great. What's not working with it? Oh, it's because I typed it wrong. Oh my gosh, I should use the folding thing. Oh, why can't I? It might be my stream settings, but I can't click and collapse this Twitter icon, GitHub icon, but whatever. I think what we actually want is this, and this is data, and this is... Oh yeah, there's socials too. Oh man. Oh man, oh my. Now I gotta type all these. Brutal. Brutal. It worked so good when it was local. Now I have to define a schema. Maybe I should look at doing something else here. Good old TypeScript. I wonder, I guess we could do some kind of error handling here. Like there's a has inside of edge config. I wonder what's the best way to do this. What's the optimal way? Because I could do if no data. If there's no data and this didn't work, well, we've got problems. It's time to throw an error or show an error screen. Maybe we should do that just for the sake of demo here. Let's do that. We could do a error boundary here, or I guess it's not even necessarily an error. It's like if this doesn't work, we might as well just like redirect or go somewhere else. Like if we can't get the data, but I don't know. Let's see what we're working with here. I guess the question for me is, do I want to display an error, or how do I want to handle this? If there's if there's no data, just redirect it to Selena Gomez. Let's do that. So this runs on the server. So the kind of wild thing about this, it kind of breaks my previous React brain when you look at code like this, because you do an async await in the component. If no data, you redirect. It's kind of wild that that's like a thing that works, but it does. If no data, redirect to Selena Gomez. Oh, and it looks like I'm missing a key somewhere in here. Oh, no. I could add these types here. We'll say this is a social. And this is, shouldn't it figure that out? Shouldn't I not need to manually type that? You'd think. I don't know. This thing, I guess we could put a key on the, this is kind of a weird thing that I'm mapping over this and then doing it like this. Normally there's like a wrapping element, and then that wrapping thing has the key on it, but we could do it like this. Either way. Okay, now it's not yelling at me, fixing all that stuff, because it's complaining because data has no type. Oh, good point. Good point. I shouldn't even need to do this once. Like this, shouldn't even need to do this, because we should be able to say, I guess I don't know the answer to this. How do I add the type now? Do I just do it like this? And then now that is TypeScript smart enough to know that, okay, if there's no data, that means that down here, it is smart enough to know that. Nice. Sup nerds, sup Theo. We're building a Linktree clone, and I haven't checked my DMs, so I'm sorry. I've just been I've been coding away on the most basic site ever, but it's been fun. It's just an excuse to code something today. And yeah, actual Linktree does use Next.js, which is kind of funny. We're talking about TypeScript, so this could be a good place for your expertise. I've typed this data that I've fetched back, and what I was trying to figure out is, okay, if there's no data, we're just going to redirect to Selena Gomez's, because why not? And then it magically figures out that the properties below it are social or links. So I think we just have to make this data type allow undefined so it doesn't yell at me. Like that. I guess that works. Oh yeah, the chat knows. The chat knows. Yeah. What we're looking at here is we're using edge config, Vercel edge config, just for the heck of it, to put this Linktree data as remote JSON, essentially. So we've got a name, an avatar, links, socials, and we get this stuff back here. What I want to do is actually, so in the app directory, in server components, it tries to make data fetches static if possible. So if you can essentially take some fetch and make it static, well, yeah, let's do that. And then you can opt in to make it dynamic if you want. What I want to see right now is if I simulate a prod build, because this is, I think, something that stumps people up, is if you change your data source and you're running Next.dev, it's still going to refetch data on every single request. Oh, app page exports a invalid Twitter icon, GitHub icon field. I probably still had the, oh yeah, why are these exported? Twitter icon, where's GitHub icon? Whoops, don't need that. Okay, I'll do a build, and then I'm gonna start the production server locally, which, I don't know. I could just push it up to Vercel if I really wanted to, but let's just do this for the sake of demonstrating it here. So I've got this. It's the same data. I can refresh as much as I want. I should now be able to go in here, change data. And if it is dynamic, when I update this, I should be able to pull it. And it looks like it's not. So it looks like it's optimizing this to be static. So I think what I need to do is export dynamic. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Export const dynamic equals, and it should give me the TypeScript plugin here is going to give me the options. We want to force this to be dynamic, like rerun it every single time and fetch the latest data. And let's see what happens. It tripped me up because it's hard to see when fetches happen without the Chrome inspector. Yeah, I want like Next.js dev tools to tell me what to happen here. That would make things a lot easier. When fetch happens in my terminal, it's hard to debug. Yeah, feel that. I do feel that. Okay, so we get the new data, but will it fetch it dynamically on every request? It will. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So export const dynamic, force dynamic here. This is essentially like, hey, whatever data fetching you're doing on this page, this is SSR. Like this is effectively the same thing as run this whole page SSR. I don't want to have any granularity. Now the reason it's designed like this is it's kind of future forward thinking. It's kind of a future forward optimization, is because in the future, in the not so distant future, you might be doing something like this. You might be doing, write me a promise. Let's see, promise all with 3. I know Theo loves promise.all. What is, stop making comments. What the fuck? Stop, just write the code. I don't need 100 comments. Okay, I'll just write it myself. I guess my point was, in the future, you might be doing something like this. And one of these is fetching static data. You're changing the perception from a all or nothing, my page is static or my page is dynamic. Like, there's almost three spectrums to this. There is frameworks who think about data completely static or completely dynamic. They either say you render the entire thing server-side rendered, and that's the only way to do it. Or you have other frameworks who say static is the way. That's the only way you should render your application. Everything else is bad. Then there's others that are in the middle that say, well, you can do a little bit of static, you can do a little bit of server. Both are good. Both have their trade-offs. If you want to do a single page app, you can do that too. That's fine. The way Next.js has worked in the pages directory is you can do that on a per page route. So my home page is maybe static. My dashboard, a client-side app. Another page, server rendered. And that flexibility has been very beneficial. What's super, super cool about the app directory, and it has not been explained at all so far, working on it, is that it's now at the fetch level. It's now at the data fetch level. So this one could be dynamic. This one, I'll actually pull up the docs here so it's a little more obvious. So this one could be dynamic. This one could be static. And this one, could be ISR. It could revalidate static content every 10 seconds. And that's wild. You can have different pieces of components on the page that some are static, some are dynamic, some are updating their content, and not have to think about your entire page as like, well, we got to render this whole thing from the server. It's kind of wild. It is absolutely very wild. And that's kind of like one of the next things we're going to be talking about a bit more with the app directory. It's just, to be honest, it's like we haven't got there yet. Part of the reason for that is that you have to have caching infrastructure that understands how to do that, right? Traditional infrastructure thinks about things very black or white, like should I cache this page on my edge? Should I not cache this page on my edge? It's a newer way of doing things to be able to have it cached that dynamically. So yeah, that's a long way of me saying this should now be dynamic. So yeah. We could probably also do runtime equals edge. And let me just make sure this is still working. It is still working. We're going to just push it. Just push the code. And I'm curious to see how that works. Oh my OMG, this is very powerful. I missed it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I feel like we honestly just haven't talked about it very much. Slowly, very slowly getting around to that. I could probably, I feel like there's so much of the app directory yet that has been yet to be realized. Just because on one hand, we're still, fixing bugs, making things work, listening to community feedback. But also there's so many other features to be built yet, advanced features or new things on top. Now that we have this new base, you can kind of almost think about app directories like a framework in a framework. It's like Next.js, super galaxy brain version, but you can still use it within your existing setup and you can incrementally adopt it, which I think is pretty cool. I think it's pretty powerful. Yeah. Let's go check our deployment here. Linktree LOL. Just push it. Just push it. Nice. We have a Linktree clone. It's pretty simple, but it's a Next.js site with Tailwind, fetches dynamic data, renders some links, renders some social profiles, if anything, it was just fun to watch me struggle with Tailwind and Next.js. So I made it. It took a while, but we got this site out. Thanks for hanging out. See ya.